My name is Warren Butcher, and I've been a police officer in the town of Grangeville for almost 15 years. It's a small community where everyone knows everyone else, where I was born and raised. I used to think this was the perfect place to serve and protect. That was until the Hamilton boys and their friends started their reign of terror. It began innocently enough. Some toilet paper in trees, a few mailboxes knocked over. Standard teenage mischief that I'd dealt with countless times before. But then things started to change. The pranks became more frequent, more elaborate, and increasingly destructive. The first real escalation happened during the town's annual spring festival. I was on patrol when I got the call. "Officer Butcher, we've got reports of vandalism at the community center. Multiple calls coming in." "Copy that. I'm 5 minutes out." When I arrived, I found our community center's walls covered in explicit graffiti. Not just random tags, but targeted messages about the mayor, the school principal, and several prominent business owners. Hours of work had gone into this prank, and thousands of dollars would be needed to fix it. As I was documenting the scene, I spotted them watching from across the street, Jason and Michael Hamilton, along with Craig Donovan and Tyler Watkins. All 17, all smirking. They didn't even try to hide. "Boys, I need to speak with you." "Now, what's up, Officer Butcher? Something wrong?" "You know damn well what's wrong. This has your fingerprints all over it." "You got proof of that?" "Because our dad always says you need evidence before making accusations." Their father, Robert Hamilton, was the town's most successful attorney. Their mother sat on the school board. The Donovans owned half the real estate in town, and the Watkins family ran the local bank. These weren't just any teenagers. They were untouchable, and they knew it. I brought them in for questioning anyway. Within an hour, all 4 sets of parents arrived at the station, outraged not at their sons, but at me. "This is harassment, Warren. My boys were at home all night. We have security cameras that prove it." "Robert, the footage can be doctored. You know that."
Are you calling us liars now? This is exactly why the town council has been questioning the police budget. Perhaps we need officers who don't waste resources harassing children.
The boys were released without charges. No consequences. Not even a warning. And that was just the beginning. 2 weeks later, someone sabotaged the irrigation system at the high school football field the night before a big game, flooding it completely. The game had to be canceled, costing the school thousands in concession sales. A month after that, all the tires on the teachers' cars were slashed during a parent-teacher conference. 28 cars in total. Then came the incident at old Mrs. Carpenter's house. She'd lived alone since her husband died and had always been kind to everyone in town. One night, someone set off industrial-grade fireworks in her backyard at 3 a.m. The explosion shattered her windows and sent her to the hospital with a stress-induced heart attack. She could have died. Each time, I knew who was responsible. Each time, I had circumstantial evidence at best. And each time, their parents provided alibis and threatened legal action against the department. After Mrs. Carpenter's incident, I confronted Chief Harkins. "Chief, we can't keep letting them get away with this. It's escalating. Someone's going to get seriously hurt." "What would you have me do, Warren?" "The Hamiltons have donated the funds for our new patrol cars. The Donovans just pledged $500,000 to the municipal building renovation. And need I remind you that Mayor Watkins is Tyler's uncle? So we just let them terrorize the town because their families have money and influence?" "We pick our battles, Warren. That's the reality of small-town policing. Document everything, build a case slowly, and wait for them to make a big enough mistake." "And how many people get hurt while we wait?" "That's enough, Officer Butcher. This conversation is over." I left his office seething. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Mrs. Carpenter in her hospital bed, about the fear in her eyes when I took her statement, about how the boys had laughed when I questioned them, knowing they were untouchable. Something inside me shifted that night. If the system wouldn't hold these kids accountable, maybe I needed to create a situation where they couldn't wiggle out of the consequences. The opportunity came sooner than I expected. Through the grapevine, I heard they were planning something big for Halloween night. Something to make the town remember them. One of their girlfriends had let it slip to my nephew, who told me thinking I could finally catch them. According to the intel, they planned to break into the abandoned Millbrook quarry and set up an elaborate prank involving the old mining equipment. The quarry had been closed for decades, deemed unsafe due to unstable rock formations and deep water-filled pits. It was strictly off-limits, with multiple warning signs and a fence surrounding the property. Breaking in there wasn't just trespassing, it was putting themselves in serious danger. Halloween night came, and I volunteered to patrol the quarry area. I told the chief I had a hunch something might happen there. He didn't question it. I parked my cruiser out of sight and waited. At around 11 p.m., I spotted them. 4 shadows slipping through a cut section of fence, carrying backpacks and what looked like climbing gear. I could have intercepted them right then. That's what protocol suggested. But years of watching them escape consequences made me hesitate. I needed irrefutable evidence this time, something their parents couldn't explain away. So I decided to follow at a distance, document their trespassing, and catch them in the act of whatever vandalism they were planning. I gave them a 15-minute head start before I followed through the fence opening, flashlight off, moving silently through the quarry grounds. I could hear their voices echoing off the stone walls as they climbed higher into the old excavation area. This is going to be epic. When people see the quarry lit up tomorrow morning, the whole town will lose their minds. My dad's construction flares will make this place visible from miles away. We'll be legends. Just make sure you set them exactly where I marked on the map. We need them to spell out the message perfectly. They were planning to set up some kind of massive flare display. Dangerous, but not immediately life-threatening to anyone but themselves. I continued to follow, gathering evidence with my body cam, waiting for the right moment to confront them. That's when I heard the first rumble. Small stones clattered down from above. The boys had climbed onto an unstable outcropping, one clearly marked with danger signs they'd either missed or ignored in the darkness. Hey, did you guys feel that? It's fine. Don't be such a baby. No, stay where you are. That section isn't stable. I shined my flashlight on them, finally revealing my presence. For once, they looked scared instead of smug. It's Butcher! Run! No, stay where you are. That section isn't stable. But they panicked. Jason and Tyler started scrambling higher up the rock face, while Michael and Craig tried to move laterally across the outcropping. The vibration of their sudden movements was all it took. With a sickening crack, the rock shelf gave way. I watched in horror as all 4 boys plummeted downward, along with several tons of loose stone and dirt. Their screams echoed through the quarry before being cut short by the impact. I radioed for emergency services immediately and rushed to where they had fallen. The scene was chaotic, dust still settling, rocks continuing to shift. Jason had landed on a lower ledge about 15 feet down, injured but conscious. Tyler was nearby, unconscious but breathing. Michael and Craig had fallen much further, into one of the deeper sections of the quarry. This is Officer Butcher. I need multiple ambulances at the old Millbrook quarry immediately. 4 teenagers down, multiple injuries, possible spinal trauma. Send rescue teams with climbing equipment. The next few hours were a blur of emergency lights, rescue workers, and the boys' parents arriving on scene, their faces transformed from their usual arrogance to raw terror. When the dust settled, the toll was severe. Jason had escaped with a broken arm and concussion. Tyler suffered a shattered pelvis and internal bleeding. Michael had a traumatic brain injury that would require months of rehabilitation, and Craig would never walk again due to a spinal cord injury. The investigation that followed was thorough, but straightforward. My body cam had captured everything: their trespassing, their plans for the dangerous prank, my warning, and their panicked reaction that led to the collapse. Far from being blamed, I was commended for my quick response in calling emergency services, which likely saved their lives. For once, there were no alibis from their parents, no threats of lawsuits against the department. The evidence was irrefutable, and the consequences undeniable. The boys were charged with criminal trespassing, vandalism, and reckless endangerment. Due to their injuries, the court was lenient with sentencing, but all 4 received probation and community service. More importantly, they would carry the physical consequences of their actions for the rest of their lives. 2 weeks after the accident, Robert Hamilton came to see me at the station. The usual swagger was gone, replaced by the haunted look of a father who had nearly lost his son. Officer Butcher, I owe you an apology. If you hadn't followed them that night, if you hadn't called for help so quickly. I was just doing my job, Robert. No, you've been trying to do your job for years, and we've been standing in your way. We thought we were protecting our kids, but we were just teaching them they could do whatever they wanted without consequences. And now look what's happened. The town of Grangeville changed after that Halloween night. The attitude of entitlement that had protected those boys for so long dissolved in the face of nearly losing them. Their parents became advocates for stricter enforcement of rules and consequences. The mayor, Tyler's uncle, pushed through funding for youth programs and community service initiatives. As for the boys, their recovery was both physical and moral. I still see them around town sometimes. Jason and Tyler have mostly healed, though Tyler walks with a slight limp. Michael still struggles with memory issues. Craig navigates the town in a wheelchair now, a permanent reminder of that night at the quarry. They don't smirk when they see me anymore. Sometimes they nod. Sometimes they look away in shame. But the pranks have stopped. The destruction has ended. I wish it hadn't taken such a terrible accident to make that happen. I wish they had listened to all the warnings, mine and others, before it came to this. But sometimes, the hardest lessons are the ones that leave a permanent mark. I still patrol this town every day, still protect and serve to the best of my ability. But I do it with a heavier heart now, knowing that sometimes justice comes at a price no one should have to pay. Thanks for watching.